I was already planning on starting this off on a rather depressing note, but the thing is that you guys already know that you guys most likely prefer the past over the present. Surely. But here's the thing, I'm not done pushing that point home. I'll mention it in every single video from now on if I really have to. But you see, on the show, we do have to differentiate, find new ways to open the prologue, as some might say. Stop repeating the same jokes until nauseam. I mean, I would never do such a thing like that. Right? But enough stalling, let's talk Playrix.
A company founded in 2004, being almost as old as I am, starting off in Volgograd, Russia, and moving their headquarters to Dublin, Ireland in 2013, originally going by the name Terminal Studios. During their time, they'd release casual games like Worm 2000 in 2001, Arkanoid 2000 in 1999, Hack Shooter 3D in 2003, It looks great. And Atlantis Quest for the PC in 2006. In November of 2007, they would officially rebrand into Playrix and release their most well-known IPs, including 4 Elements, the Fishdom series, and of course, Gardenscapes. Well, actually, I'm unsure if 4 Elements was popular per se. I just happened to have played both games as a kid. These titles had some amount of success, but these IPs would truly start to rise to the top once Playrix made the decision to make it into the mobile game industry, creating new Gardenscapes and Fishdom installments at around 2016, appearing on many devices, even including the Windows Store. Who would have thought? These games would become massively successful, with Gardenscapes reaching over 500 million downloads, allowing the company to make a lot of moolah. Playrix would even be valued at $8 billion in 2021, which at the time made them the 3rd most successful mobile game company ever. As for the games in question, Fishdom is still the Match 3 classic from all those years ago, and so is Gardenscapes. Yeah, the Playrix devs thought it would be funny if they completely tossed aside the hidden objects genre for this IP and just decided to be a Match 3 game. Then what is Fishdom for? These games are so eerily similar to each other that there's simply no point in playing more than one. Seems rather fish-dumb of them to do that. Trust me, the corniness is only going to be put into full throttle soon enough. Just you wait, my friend. Gotta also appreciate how 200 of basically the exact same game would be a byproduct of modern-day Fishdom and Gardenscapes. Seriously, just play one and you'll have already played hundreds without even realizing until I told you about it. Even the Simon's Cat team and Gordon Ramsay would have mobile games of their own. Like, what do you want me to say? It's just the most uninspired thing I've ever seen! I don't even want to plant the idea in my head that someone's phone might just have so many of these inexplicably, and if you manage to find that out, please consider doing this. Oh, and you actually thought I was going to leave out a very significant detail in this video. I understand that there's tons of people out there that have already talked about this and in a lot more detail, but I'm talking about it here. Understood?
Not often, but here and there, we do happen to talk about the nitty-gritty on this channel, with a really good example being this radioactive sock from 2015. I still haven't taken care of that yet? Okay, hold on.
Anyway, with that precaution out of the way, it's time we discuss the minigames. In a simplified flash animation style completely devoid of how the rest of the game looks, your goal is to get Austin, the main protag, these days I gotta be a little unlike everyone else in these video essays, you get me, out of whatever pickle he might be in. These puzzles really aren't that difficult, or anything special, other than the fact that for some that actually played the original PC games, they may feel discomfort that these are the characters that you remember now. Okay, so a little confession that I want to make. I didn't actually watch through this compilation until I'm like, I hear this audio snippet that I just used, and I'm just like, this is so bad, oh my god. Now, I'll give Playrix this, they knew that the regular game wouldn't make for interesting enough ads, but this actually led to the company needing to face waves of criticism related to this ad campaign. Most, if not all of these ads were just the minigames, and many thought that these were misleading due to one of these minigames being playable only every 20 levels. I'm unsure if this was changed later down the line, but either way, it was a pretty interesting tale. Okay, so I decided to play the game for myself and found out that Playrix code did indeed listen to the criticism and graced us with a puzzle every other level.
My argument is that it made the game worse. because there's no fun to be had here.
But look at Evity the King's Return, a game that had the exact same puzzle system as Gardenscapes, but the team behind the project, GG Inc., got into legal trouble due to none of said puzzles being advertised actually existing in the game's files, meaning they had to hurry up and get the puzzles officially implemented. Unfortunately, I was unable to find articles specific to the King's Return, but given their past, I totally believe it. And also their present. Anyway, these games suck, and I don't even want to get started with the spin-off of Gardenscapes, Homescapes. Well, actually, I can't even get started because here's why. Okay, so I was like trying to give myself a name. I tried typing things like FU and penis hole, and I can't type a name now. It literally it doesn't want me to type a name. After closing and reopening the game and being allowed to name myself, I come to terms with the fact that this title isn't completely miserable. Shocker, I get it. Now, don't take this the wrong way, the actual core game still sucks, and nothing is more of a bother than a limited amount of moves ending the round off within less than a minute, and constant hints that will show up every few seconds or so that can't be disabled. But I can still see some of the charm borrowed from the 2009 release. Even in this botched modern gaming form, the characters are still likable and I enjoy their interactions. Austin returns to his childhood mansion, which a lot of people have, trust me with that, finding out that it's pretty rundown. His parents come along to also analyze the current state of this place and anoint you as the helper of Austin as he match 3 your way to affording new pieces of furniture and restore these rooms to their former glory, just like in Gardenscapes and Mansion Makeover, but we're gonna talk about that later. His parents, however, have a different plan. They wish to sell the entire mansion after it becomes presentable, explaining if they're just too old to preserve this place. But Austin upsettingly expresses his dread over this concept they introduced to him, imploring you, the player, to help him bring the mansion back on its feet and make it their home once again. It's by no means whatsoever the most original storyline for a game, but hey, I appreciate some parsley on my unseasoned white rice.
Alright, let's be done talking about the newer releases, because believe it or don't, I don't want you guys to suffer the worst. Besides, the point of this video is to talk about the franchise's roots, including how they literally had a dragon mascot that they just decided when they rebranded that, oh, that's gotta go. You should stand out and not be everyone else. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up about that now, and let's go ahead and talk about the original Gardenscapes. The Gardenscapes that I actually hold close to my heart.
Become unmasked and reveal your true selves. As a kid, I used to think that the dog in the title screen before the butterflies covering its eyes starts flying around, that the dog was actually wearing a pair of glasses. I don't actually know if this really matters all that much, but why is cut and scene not just all one word? Cutscene is an actual word. You know what? Let me do some research on this real quick. Yep, I knew it. Did I have to search it? Yes! How am I mere seconds into this game and I already spotted an eensy-weensy detail that bothers me so much? Stupid Timothy, you're behind schedule again. Get to your branch and sing! Anyway, this is Austin. You know this already. You better like him because you're gonna see him all the time. He's your grandfather's butler, a grandfather who sadly passed away. Austin writes to you informing you that in his grandfather's will, he wants you, the player, to inherit his mansion along with its garden. Sure is a strange coincidence, but you know, with the difference being that this granddaddy shows no signs of still being alive. But hey, at least the other greenhouse is better maintained despite the man-eating plant right smack in the center compared to this. Man, these fake leaks are getting way out of hand. By the way, a 10 out of 10 experience is guaranteed if the profile name character limit is more than 10. No pun intended. When you start a new game, you can also choose between the relaxed game mode, where it takes forever for customers to become dissatisfied with how long you're taking to find a giant bowling pin staring you down as you see it for 5 minutes. Whereas on timed mode, you have a certain amount of time to find everything for your 20 plus customers, and they become dissatisfied a lot quicker. Trying this out basically for the first time was a bit stressful in all honesty, but that's probably because I was a dumb baby and to this day still am, and have only been playing in relaxed mode. I'll get you your 4th wrench, just please bear with me, okay?
Oh, what's that? You had plans? It'd be a shame if I threw this at you.
You do, however, end up making a little more money thanks to a time bonus, but unless you wish to challenge yourself, I'm not sure there's too much of an incentive to do so. This game mode can be toggled in the options menu though, so that's nice. If you already can tell, this is meant to be your garden. Get to restoring it. Lucky for you, the mansion is packed full of useless junk that just so happens to be all of these people's unuseless junk. So yeah, that's kind of all there is to it. It's casual hidden object excellence. Why is there a goldfish? Is he a recent addition to the mansion? Gosh, I hope he's getting nutrients. Day 1 and $355 has been chucked into the bank and leaves us with enough for our first purchase, each of which gives us 3 options. I went with oak benches, but I can't say for sure if they're solid oak, but who cares? Austin's gonna help me the most he can. Wow, thank you so much for walking a few feet, very slowly. And it looks like I'm already getting 15 customers on average, which is pretty cool. Another thing I may as well go ahead and mention is that I love my gaming PC, and I owe my life to you guys as I wouldn't have been able to afford it if it wasn't for you all, but playing this game on this hardware doesn't feel the same considering the load times are very minimal. And speaking of nostalgia, I'm unsure if it's the only reason, but the music in this game can be really good at times. Okay, so I'm completely aware of the fact that I let this drag on for way too long. But shut up.
I can confidently say that it still holds up.
Some extra mechanics later down the line will also start introducing themselves, such as the locatable hints, which you can have 5 of at a time. I don't need them. I'm a Goron guy with the keenest vision in the East!
What does any of this even say? Oh wait, I can't read. How do I know if I'm happy with this video's script?
A camera which flashes the whole scene white, leaving all the objects that the customers need unchanged, allowing you to see exactly where they are, but only for a few seconds. And lastly, a thermometer, which basically turns the panels on the left into a game of hot or cold, directing you to where the object happens to be, while leaving you ineligible for a speed bonus, which is achieved by, of course, finding items within relatively quick succession. Tell me this, do you honestly go to a house sale in search of a flippin' maple leaf? If that's strange, then boy, you aren't ready for what you'll see later down the line. This is all like going to a hot dog stand and asking for a sheet of metal. Right. Fencing time. Wait, no, not that kind of fencing! Austin, save me. Side note, there's also just free money sitting around throughout this place. It's not that important, but here I am mentioning it to you, the viewer. Also, is it old? Besides the occasional rabbit, bird, and more worrying mice, looking past all the objects, it's remarkably clean. No dust, cobwebs, no droppings anywhere. I mean, maybe that old fart was planning on something like this all this time. He can put those 5 or more of the same dress he bought decades ago to good use at long last. A phone then starts ringing and you appear to have some kind of mod chip soldered onto it, since you can not only record these calls without either party's consent, but it gets automatically transcribed in real time.
Oh boy, I sure love technology and all of its advances. Game Boy Advance.
Alright, so this is Edward. He works at a newspaper company. He likes the idea of the garden restoration so much that he's willing to plug it in the next paper in hopes it'll attract more buyers. Because, as you all know, 2 new benches and new fencing is just a lot to show for. Just pretend the rest of this doesn't exist. Also, Austin, buddy, you're missing the point. If the garden were to be photographed now, it would most likely further incentivize people flocking over to help out with the restoration. But maybe I just need to look at this from a different angle.
I'll be sure to choose whichever one is most necessary. Now the camera does not see it, but I'm actually looking at my computer screen from my closet.
Up next is the attic. Again, how are these birds just chilling if this place was abandoned? And this is where the camera is first introduced. Find the highlighted items in time and get yourself a camera hint bonus. Oh, what's that? You want a clothesline with all of these dirty clothes on it? I do not trust you. The fact that I'm even selling this to you is a miracle. You're also introduced to the design tab on the bottom left, which lets you change all the currently added features of the garden in case you find yourself unhappy with what you have currently at a lower price than when you first bought it. I ain't using that. All my decisions are final.
I'm gonna write a thesis!
Alright everyone, spontaneous swan generation check. They say that swans don't eat sweets,
Who is they? Also, dogs aren't meant to eat chocolate-covered batteries dipped in grapes. Even if it's compressed carbon monoxide in its physical form, they will find a way to eat it.
The sunroom, the room where suns. Back when I was just a kid playing this game, I remember feeling sad that customers every now and then wanted the cat from this room. But alas, I've grown up and come to terms with how, yes, I can trust a face like this. Every now and then, you'll also receive letters either from those wishing to give you some kind of announcement or an interest in bulk buying. Some letters even containing extra cash. Anyway, we need to head up onto the attic and find a bunch of books. 20 to be exact, and 20 is how many of one item is needed for each of these rounds. I've always enjoyed how fast-paced these can be and either end within 30 seconds or 2 minutes because of my inability to locate, you guessed it, an item staring me right at me. This is gonna happen a lot. But hey, you do make a little extra money compared to your average round. Yes! I found them all. Wait, no! My extra money! Austin, why would you do this to me? Dog. We have a dog now. Oh, thanks for letting me name him. I think you deserve my transparency, good sir. And yes, this is a better name that you won't find elsewhere. You look different today. Is that a new hairstyle?
Well, no, it's always looked like this.
No way! Is that Mordecai? Here you go, Grandma. Live out the destiny of your ancestors. Okay, so I know this paper is about the garden restoration, but I am more focused on this macaron recipe. Macarons. Also, that's a really stupid name for a headline.
There's something really odd that you can do in this game. So you can give the chalkboard to a customer in this game, which, you know, that seems pretty average, doesn't it? But then you'll notice that the actual writing on the chalkboard stays in place. But then this dad will show up, and then he'll just purchase the actual writings themselves from the chalkboard for about $20 measly. What kind of twisted magic is this?
Look, I can cease talking about this for now, but it's always gonna live inside my head, inside of an apartment complex having access to all the food and drinks it desires. And just like that comment on a YouTube video about a Super Smash Bros. Rel Hex Ganondorf getting insane distance on home run contest saying I can make a sandwich and come back, I still haven't found that comment. Congratulations, you spent $20. Look, I'm aware of the fact that questioning video game logic is inherently pointless, which, quick correction, it is, but there's just fresh food sitting in this mansion amongst all of this junk, and you're trying to tell me that this is completely and without a doubt safe for consumption. I guess there's just no insects or rodents in this year's version. Oh, wait a second!
If I just stopped questioning video game logic in these videos, then what would be left of them?
Ring, 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 banana phone, except it's not a banana. It could be, though. This is Isabel, a member of the rather fittingly named Gardeners Club. She expresses how she'd love to get you in on the club, but she talks about how your garden is destroyed, making it impossible. First of all, rude. Secondly, surely you're aware of the concept of deterioration?
You make it seem like the garden was affected by a bomb blast decades ago. Wait, but that wasn't the root cause of this garden becoming what it is now, though. Surely.
Okay, enough conspiracy theories. Austin explains that the garden's restoration is still in the works, and as a result, she says that she could get you in so long as you keep up the hard work, meaning it's not impossible for us to get in.
You sit upon a throne of lies!
I like how I had gotten the thermometer and my mouse just glides away from the yacht twice. I mean, that's hidden object games for you. The type of thing just isn't new, and it happens to literally everyone. I just thought it was funny to point out. Another funny thing to point out are the things in this room that are scaled down, presumably to make them harder to find. Like this house cat. Eloiwi. all grown up. Happy birthday, son. I brought home food poisoning. Yeah, a lot of these rounds just kind of last less than 2 minutes, and I kind of want to move on. I really can't speak much for the gameplay. I mean, it's quite intuitive and it works well. It's not too in-depth, which I see as a positive.
So with this being mentioned, if you guys want to see me make fun of random people and maybe talk more about some of the story elements, by all means, stick around.
This guy might be letting the garden get to his head. I'm just kidding. I took that out of context. He's actually listing off what's required for the garden to let him into that stupid club nobody cares about. Like, I want a cat. But give it a few more weeks and I'll be spot on. The pantry? You know, this jars me in a pretty interesting way because I always, and you do as well, associate pantries with food. I'm not gonna find a box of cereal in here. I mean, not like I'd be thrilled to. Something probably would have made it its home. I spent the majority of the round not finding the third customer's lawnmower. Yes, even with camera help. Wow, what kind of fraudulent ceremony is this girl setting up? If I get to build a marbled statue and I don't pick the thinker, I'm not forgiving myself. Is it genuine marble?
No, this is the real deal and you're having none of it. It's all mine. Wait, this joke doesn't even work!
I recently saw Isabel from the City Gardeners Club. They're seriously considering inviting you to the club. So they were joking at first? That's not very nice. I would never tell my friend that I'm considering baking them a cake, bake said cake, and when they come over I jokingly say that the cake is actually for me until I realize a great mistake has been made and I let them have some so that they don't hatch the idea of just moving states. I mean, I can do that if I wanted to. He smears butter all over my Wii remotes. How should I have some form of answer to why? Another funny thing about this game, Austin thinks about paint. A lot. If you don't believe me, I'll literally add a counter up to this point in the video just to prove something for once. Okay, let's fast forward until something interesting happens. Nope. Alright, so this is the Oriental room. Easily the most interesting room in the entire mansion. It's also, for me, the hardest room to find items in. It's actually crazy just how well everything blends into the environment. This will cause problems, but not for now. Austin, there's lampposts now, Austin. You should come outside and see it. How does one turn them on, you might ask? I don't know, get your god finger to do it for you. It may also decide to stay on forever, draining your wallet from the next few electric bills because I said so. You are my butler, you do as I say. But on second thought, I'm gonna continue handling the bills because why should I trust someone who runs into the house as it stops raining?
He doesn't need some kind of memo, he should just know!
Ah, dang it, I clicked on 2 thermometers. Call that getting double thermometered. That's like getting myself double Goron Guide. Isabel gives you another call about the club and wanted to ensure you had enough time to prep. We have working electricity, my middle name is Ready. The night I was recording my play sessions, I might have made the realization that perhaps the game knew I was completing several rounds in just over a minute. And I knew this because I hadn't been seeing many thermometers and almost no cameras in sight. I'd become so good at this game that I activated the anti-cheat system, except it's most likely not that deep at all. There was a thermometer stuck into this turkey, which I think is pretty clever. The more I say thermometer, the less it sounds like a word. Please hold for a brief message. Oh, what's that? Retrieve a bunch of watches? Shut up, okay? Bunny hedge. Okay, I'll get your clocks and stuff. Isabel then sends you a letter letting you know that so long as the garden is in excellent condition, that you're allowed in.
Used condition could hypothetically work too, right?
The phone really slows work down, huh?
Your calls don't even last a minute. What are you on about?
It's Isabel for the 3rd time, and she congratulates you, the player, for getting into the club. And now a best garden competition is being hosted. And this pretty much ends up being the game's end goal. It's no longer about paying respects to our grandfather, but rather glory. There probably aren't even cash prizes, but do we need any? We're perfectly fine out in these parts selling regenerating items to people for prices far beyond reason. However, she does mention that because of your garden's condition, you're hardly expected to win.
We're gonna win. Because the game's programmed to let us win.
Well, let's get to it. Let's purchase that bird cage.
Perhaps you will never understand the importance of this object.
Speaking of birds, a little one told me about an old trick where if you can't find a yacht, just click everywhere on the screen until... I'll make sure your time runs out. By the way, aren't you guys proud that you're not the guy that spent $30 on a clover? I mean, there is 4 leaves on it, so I suppose that kind of incentivizes it. Alright, last few customers. Come on, thermometer with scoliosis, let's make quick work. Oh, what's that? You need a bunch of hair dryers for your tsunami disaster movie?
20 seconds.
Guys, I think this game might be getting too easy for me, but I can't stop! Oops. The next paper makes its arrival and it insults my butler for barely doing anything to restore the garden. I think out of spite, I'm just gonna start showing more respect to him.
Not to mention that he's being wrongly attributed as being the one restoring the garden, and I may just be a ghost in this world, but watch this.
Dang it! Maybe he's doing less to help out than I thought. But honestly, he's trying his best and that's all that really matters. Leave him alone, low-life loser that asked him such a question. Then we have Betty. Many years ago, when she visited your grandfather when he was still around, she by mistake breaks her pearl necklace. Now this isn't actually a fine 20 of the same item within a short span of time because dopamine, but rather a handful of 20 of these pearls can be found throughout the mansion during regular play, treated as regular yet semi-optional items. And once you find them all, then I don't know, something will be rewarded to you. Who wants necklace pearl with your chicken? I bet you're sent a letter from the oh wait, we have a mailbox? I didn't know that. Austin sits upon a bench and aloud reads about the rest of the requirements for entering the contest, which of course includes a working fountain. I never could have guessed that. Alrighty, we finally have enough money to get a new fountain, but which one should I pick? Fish it is then. It's working?
You're saying I could make a living just by spitting up water? That is awesome!
Then William here sends you a letter about a chessboard that he found. The same one he used to play chess with between him and your grandpa, but a lot of pieces are missing. They were always kept in their box? Yeah, I don't believe it when I see it. Speaking of which, I know, Variety keeps a hidden object game fresh and exciting, but it's just funny to imagine that they were playing chess with like pieces from 15 different sets. Did you know that glass chess is a thing? You can now play chess.
Oh my god, really?
Here's me struggling to find a hanger for 2 minutes. That's barely a straw hat. I'm getting tired of these little prank calls.
Aw, you hung up again? I don't reckon it's because of all the other 20 times in a row that I've tried to call him.
So we learned from Isabel that our application to enter the best garden contest has been accepted. Perhaps you weren't paying attention.
I don't throw money away, you hear me?
Speaking of which, another scoop arrives and it's about the contest participants and that you'll be entering for the first time.
I won't be there a second time.
We then get another phone call about what we're supposed to do next, but I see no point in going into detail when we're God and we already know what we're supposed to do.
You know, I've always thought about this. If you go to die and then you essentially have to testify yourself on Judgment Day in front of God himself, he already knows exactly what you're gonna do, what you're gonna say, the location that he already knows he's gonna put you in, so why complicate things? We already know he's capable of that. I don't know, man, it's just kind of like, you know, God knows literally everything, so like... He already knows what your fate's gonna be. That's at least what I've been told.
Another letter in the mail, this time from Jack, who mended his ways after having sneaked into your grandfather's garden at night to steal apples, and every single time had a flashlight stolen from him. And now he wants all 20 flashlights back.
Now, the game wants you to believe that he's the nicest grandpa, but I kind of believe he's the dumbest grandpa. I mean, I don't want to hear a bigger lost opportunity than this. He could have just gotten law enforcement involved, you know, got him in trouble for thievery and private property trespassing, but nope.
You'd rather just take his flashlight over and over and over again. Anyway, golf!
Let's go golfing!
Definitely a worthy 5.4 grand. Goal! I mean, hole in one! Okay, so here's what's kind of funny. Customers often ask for multiple of the same item from 2 and even upwards of 4. Up to this point, everyone pays you $30 per item, whether it be a washing machine or a pencil sharpener. But what kind of sense does it make that some are willing to pay past the amount a Nintendo Switch game costs for 4 towels, but nobody's ever willing to hand over $90 or, dare I say, $120 for a set of 4 items? At that point, just go for it. I promise it's for a good cause, not just for my own inflated ego. Austin then talks about last year's best garden winner and starts reading into the paper referencing it, photos and all. He tells me that he's gonna show it to me, but he never does. Frickin' liar. Oh, okay, but thanks for showing me that thermometer. If only you could do something about my burning retina, because my first play session lasted almost 2 hours up until 1 AM. The competition doesn't really matter. Nonsense, the competition is very important. We must win.
Oh, would you look at that? His alter egos are at war again.
I feel like something's gonna happen. Everything's gone too well. Dude, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but something happened to your porch. Ah, yes, just what this lady asked for. Bathroom coconut.
You don't know until you've tried it!
Another letter appears.
Ah! I thought I dealt with these years ago!
Telling you that your garden has been selected to participate in the contest, assuming you finish up the rest of the restoration. Now, as for this letter about a Martian landing, no. Not nearly as important. Oh, what's that, Edward? My garden is lagging behind the others?
Oh, well, I suppose I should use this Ethernet cable then.
Isabel then soon rings you up on the new porch and how there's no broken steps. I mean, if a porch is renovated, surely nobody is stupid enough to leave a step or two unfinished.
Oh, but this? I trust the people that renovated this with my life. See?
Also, Austin, sir, why the spacing of the numbers? What, is my name really that hard to remember? Alright, enough about that. Swing!
I'm putting myself through a lot in this video.
Okay, being completely transparent here, I've absolutely had more enjoyment writing up these dumb sketches centered around mostly meaningless aspects of the game rather than actually talk about what likely is more important. I don't know if I said this already, but there really isn't much to say anymore, especially since I've pretty much explained the game's premise along with all of its little gameplay mechanics. I mean, what do you guys want from me? Pink Panther games 2?
I should make it clear that I don't find this game bad by any margin. It really is just a casual hidden object game. It's like walking through your yard and nothing dangerous happens. Well, what do you know? I managed to make so many lamps without anything going wrong. I should still probably put up the sign.
This guy just wants an air vent. Sure, alright. The vents themselves aren't left behind, so I just have a few reasons to believe that he took all that too. For $30.
I can't stop myself!
Ah jeez, Grandma, come get your necklace back before Mr. Watson puts $30 to its name. So then Justin wants to invite you to tea and is interested in those absolutely delicious chocolates that he can't find at the store. Probably for good reason, because of the aforementioned, this is the environment they're in. Would you trust it? Sure! Then we got Matthew debating in his very letter to you whether he should trade in his sticker collection or actual cash in exchange for 20 Christmas ornaments. Listen, kid. With all due respect, a sticker collection just don't mean much in this economy. Ah, dang it, there goes my bird license. I was gonna give you all the money from my piggy bank, but changed my mind.
All that money was gonna go away anyway, so what's the harm?
Perhaps we should buy that bridge. Ooh, a bridge! Another letter arrives from Isabel, and it's regarding the tightening requirements about the competition due to the sheer volume of people competing. But nothing to worry about, we just need these upgrades and we're all set. I mean, if he's determined, then why shouldn't I? Let's head to the sunroom. This is one of the earliest locations in the mansion, and I decided now would be a good time to make this joke. Fork for $30! Then we gotta find a bunch of vases, because one in particular was stolen from a museum and allegedly sold to a private collector. Of all the find a ton of the same object quickly rounds, this one definitely tripped me up the most. I'm looking for vases, not chameleon vases. Hopefully nothing suspicious was revealed during the examination.
How can you vote out a bunch of ashes?
Of course you recognize my name, I'm a famous actor! So famous, in fact, I discovered that he existed literally seconds ago. I already don't like this guy. Look how arrogantly he writes. I bet he's only good enough to star in that low-budget tsunami movie from earlier. Now onto a letter by Isabel again. She acknowledges all the hard work and the progress made on her garden and lets us compete after all. I thought we were already allowed to, but okay. Now time to get ourselves a facade. Strawberry ice is a good color for those who can't decide on a color, but also for those that want something that isn't
just plain brown.
It's not always about, oh, well, I don't actually know what to pick. Some of us are strawberry fans out there. Strawberry ice cream fans, okay?
I used to be ashamed of what the neighbors were thinking.
Well, guess what? They're below us now.
It looks like the winners of the competition are going to be announced tomorrow, so on that fateful day, a photo will probably be taken, meaning we gotta get a gazebo and some fruit trees put on our garden before all that happens.
That's pretty much what this remaining 40 minutes of gameplay consisted of, just me making $15,000. As I've mentioned earlier, there just isn't much to say.
At least I can thank people like Sing, please don't slice into me for that pronunciation, for showing interest in my collection of coffee pots. You really don't need that many, but thanks. Wait, what? This guy wants 10?
10 what? That is dumbfounding.
That is truly amazing. I hope that's just the sticker that he puts on his forehead because that's something I would do. Oh, we gotta find buttons now? I think I skipped something by accident. Oopsie! But it's all good because I already got 420 of them. I'm going way too fast in this game, but that's most likely because this is the home stretch. Then we got a letter, this time from Olivia. In the city next week, there will be a competition between the best school baseball.
I don't care about your contest. Give me all your money!
We have a couple of baseball gloves in the pantry, huh? Everything you say is an understatement. As the competition I actually slightly care about winds to an end, we get another newspaper regarding that fruit trees are the garden's next edition in the future. More like, within 2 minutes. Austin even in advance mailed out some postcards to his friends out of genuine confidence that we're gonna win the contest. And that confidence does pay off. We did it! Oh. Okay, I get it, you don't really have much else on your mind, that's fair. After the fanfare, I came to the realization that I was making less money and there were literally no upgrades left. That I seriously beat the game just like that? To almost no payoff?
I had the vividest memories of there being upgrades that were somewhere in the $10,000 to $12,000 range at one point, but maybe those are just another one of the deceptive. Or maybe I'm supposed to make enough money to unlock them, but I don't know, there doesn't seem to be any sort of indication, and I don't know why they would make you do that in the first place. At least what they could have done is had something other than fireworks to wrap everything up, like a, a long, lengthy dialogue section, or, an ending cutscene, but it just feels like footage of me unwrapping a newly installed DS game I put on my 3DS played in reverse. I found it to be a little underwhelming. Not to say that I don't appreciate the garden in its final form, and, if you're still unsatisfied and you have a little bit of money left over, or you want to continue the rest of the game, you can still go to the design tab and change things up if you want. But just like that, we're done with the PC version of the original Gardenscapes. The remake makes me want to scrape the skin off of my feet, whereas the original does not. But it doesn't end there. We're now going to be taking a look at Gardenscapes Mansion Makeover. Now this one is actually kind of weird because I wasn't able to find this on the Big Fish Games website, and don't even try to look for it on Playrix.com. Even if you go to Amazon and try to snag a copy, it's just not available. There's no way to actually purchase it. It's like the devs don't want you to play this one.
And what I find particularly strange is how there's a ton of these casual game websites that provide paid copies of the game, but there's no telling if Playrix themselves is making a split of that revenue, or any for that matter. But then along came MyRealGames.com, which claims that the free-to-download game, which is all of them, on their site is licensed for distribution as freeware by other game publishers or developed by internal game studios. No pirated software, 100% legal games, in their very own words.
I trust it enough, let's just play it.
You live in a very unusual house. You fondle, and then, one day, you receive a letter.
Oh wait, that's actually kind of neat.
I had this running theory earlier that I was going to bring up that Joe from Farmscapes and Austin from Gardenscapes lived in the same universe, and this just kind of confirms my theory.
Farmscapes is a very similar concept to Gardenscapes and involves you making enough money to restore your farm, except now it's a match 3 game. Let's all hope that the future does this genre well. And then there's Barnyard. If you played Gardenscapes, then why would you play this?
I don't know.
I suppose I should take into consideration that not everyone can truly get their Playrix hidden object fixed with it. I mean, take a look at this. But maybe you stuck around because of Linda, which I totally get. Yeah, despite me feeling less like coming back to it, I had a great amount of fun with Farmscapes at the time.
Hello, this is GoronGuy123. I did have to play this game to grab footage. I'm just throwing this out here because I know that people are gonna make fun of me. You can save that for later.
Excellent!
I prefer his old voice. I'm not even gonna make a callback to Pink Panther games. I just don't like his new voice, capiche? Alright, we just gotta write a few letters, enter my name. Well, that's another downgrade. Is it that technologically troubling to just make a 15 character limit? This is just the stupid PayPal password character limit all over again. Alright, here we are at, I thought I set this to relaxed mode. Yeah, don't do this if you're unfamiliar with your surroundings, which I was. It's also time for you to appreciate all the references to all the previous IPs sprinkled throughout the rest of the game because this company wants to gaslight you. Alright, so I think it's time that I discuss the gameplay mechanic changes. Each customer no longer suffers from the one of us mentality and pays whatever they feel like, within some reason, and pays more as the game progresses, so you know, the element of reason is gone at that point. A change that is quite welcoming because, you know, I like variety. This next change is kinda weird and it's figuring out what they did to speed bonuses. You only now need to find up to 2 items fast for it to count, but you have less time to make this bonus count, whereas in the first Gardenscapes, it was pretty lenient. In concept, this is a great change because now the game requires a bit more skill to make extra money, but in practice, it's a bit janky. Sometimes I feel like I found things fast enough for it to count when it doesn't. Other times, I take a little too long to find the next item, only for it to indeed count. A change I actually really like is that you are now eligible for speed bonuses while using the thermometer. It just makes sense because I took the time to look for this, so make me feel rewarded, not just in the form of, oh, it's right here. As for the cameras, they are way harder to find than before, which is a great change because I kind of felt like in the first game you could find 2 of these which already stick out like a broom handle in a pile of dirt, and then finish half of the round. Mansion Makeover, you actually need a keen eye to find them, but some of the placements are so insane, I find myself clicking in random dark spots just to see what happens, and then camera. Some of these are even mostly covered up by the game's UI, so yeah, chances are you're gonna get lucky finding yourself a camera from time to time. Every once in a while, instead of a customer outright saying the name of an item they wish to acquire, they might instead give a vaguish description. Their attempts usually backfire, and of course the more obvious changes being customer portraits and their wacky animations. Also, you can get scenarios where an old guy will buy some binoculars and then immediately come back and want some parrots. The original has nothing on this. Does he want a fake bird watch? And then there's just a developer oversight. So far, that's pretty much it. I have ways of getting this video to 90 minutes in length. Alright, sofa in, work, and finally you get to relax in comfort.
One button has been pressed, and finally I can sit down and enjoy this sandwich.
Now we can restore the fireplace that will cause political jeopardy in this mansion. Jacob is coming today.
Jeez, show the guy some respect. What's stopping you from capitalizing his name?
This is the start of one of those kind of rounds where, oh wow, that's a lot of one specific item, but with one big difference. You get no money for doing this.
Get out.
But you do get rewarded more unique ways, such as a new phone to be installed.
Wait, no, come back!
Let me preface this. Given the small changes in the core game, I don't think this is bad. I mean, I've only gotten better and better at these kinds of rounds, so maybe the game doesn't want me to just get me some really easy money. I now got the floor replaced and Austin over here is commenting on its shininess. You can't miss that shine.
Ugh, every time, man.
And next, doggy bed. It would only be fitting to put a different name on the bed that doesn't match up with what we called our dog in the previous game, Werecat. But he's not responded to being called only for us to find out that stranded. I feel like Werecat could just jump out the bucket back onto the grass pretty easily considering the distance. Or if that doesn't work, Austin could just pick up the bucket and put it somewhere else. But I love pointless conflict. Now we have a gameplay segment where we need to find items and problem solve, akin to that of Farmscapes. But in Gardenscapes Mansion Makeover, it's incredibly easy. Yeah, just eat all 10 biscuits. There's Reddit communities out there that would love to encourage this. It's time to play fetch! I then checked to see what new upgrades I need to work for, and the TV is upwards of 12 grand. That's not to say they don't exist, but really? What kind of economic system is this? Oh yeah, a guy wanting a glass of milk that's been sitting around for not even God knows how long. With $34, he can buy plenty of half gallons, and yet you choose to continue making awful life decisions, just like the rest of the sad people inside this game. Have you seen those new TVs?
No.
Oh no, you better not do what I think you're gonna do with that. I was gonna talk about the dude that comes by and asks for a bunch of balls, but by the end of it, he gives us this insane discount on the TV listing, meaning we're not too far off from being able to afford it now. Large puddle in the basement? Whatever, take this! $2,500 well spent. Dude, they have key smash advertising in this world. This is genuinely such a great detail because it showed that the team behind this game were having fun with this and knew how to really hone in on the wacky nature of this game. They also had soul. Alright, time to look in the paper and oh goody, a necktie festival, my favorite. The local haberdashery, this is hands down my new favorite word, will once more be hosting its traditional exhibition. If it wasn't obvious, this is a tie contest.
I'm done talking about those.
With cash prizes handed out to the 3 best contenders, so of course you have to help them out even if I disagree. What you are seeing is rare, never before seen footage of your butler, Austin, being the customer that you are handing items to. So, what do we get for pretty much sponsoring and allowing this event possible?
There isn't even a promo code!
I'm so pleased we bought our dog a new place to sit, and you can tell how much he likes it by not using it. Then you order new carpet, leading to Austin proclaiming that he'll from now on only walk on said carpet. But if we take what he says at face value...
Out!
Oh, and it would also appear that some of the Chaos Emeralds can just be bought at your local house sale. I was gonna bring this up quite a bit sooner, but in the 5 hours I've sunk into this game, I got desensitized by it by the time I was gonna make a joke about it in this video. A 6 out of 10 joke at that. Oh, and you know what I really don't like? How dumb this game makes me look! So to combat this, I've tied up this woman's husband. Or wife. You never know. The moment we install a new birdcage, Austin's celebration is immediately cut off by the spontaneous leaks that have developed through the house. The leaks trigger your dog's PTSD, and as a result, a bunch of pots that weren't ever here before are now smashed and need repairing. Grab the shards and place the pots under all the leaks to catch the water from them, but we still need to stop the pipe from producing any more unwarranted water. So we go through a toolbox, grab a wrench, and fix it. I'm gonna be honest, all we did is turn it off. How are we expected to wash carrots?
Who has yet to claim the title of I spoke too soon guy?
Okay, so problem actually solved. I haven't had much to say about the actual gameplay as I mentioned earlier, but look at this teddy bear with a wrench. He's so cute! Have you seen the aquariums? No, I can't.
You know, that's also something I think would have been nice to have in this game. The ability to just, you know, go through your options a little bit sooner. Actually take a peek at them until I have enough money to afford it. Something that sounds like it's not needed or anything, but would have been nice to have.
Oh god, 20 needles or threads. I was expecting this to be at least a tad bit more challenging than the rest, but it only took about a minute flat to complete. But I also need to ask, why are the thermometers and cameras even in these type of rounds when it can only help you with one item at a time? It's completely pointless to a point where it's comical. Wow, I didn't even mean to say that.
The pointlessness is sure on point.
And in return, pillows with my name embroidered onto them, which...
Look, just use your imagination.
Oh, what's that? Don't test me, you are still my butler. And now it's time for the aquarium to be installed. Who here buys ice cream at a house sale? Anyway, we get our first actual phone call, and what do you know? It's Isabel. She now hosts Renovation Academy, where she's interested in featuring Austin in the program due to her growing interest in your mansion's renovation, and plans on visiting at one point. Today's my lucky day?
Oh, I had no idea, but thank you so much for reminding me. I'm gonna win the lottery today.
Butterfly nets, you say? I did this in 16 seconds. How am I gonna top that? Yeah, books!
I still don't know what any of this says.
But you know what they say, if Austin is satisfied, then I'm satisfied. It's better to decide before we buy the paint. Once bought, it's a little harder to change our minds. Yeah, we'll think again. Fireplace has now infected this entire area with its liberalness. Now Austin can look upon his guests without shame, despite not enjoying doing so all the time.
How could you possibly be shy? You can trust me, right? There's nothing to be worried about.
Long time no see.
I am offended.
Our guests will want to know the time, but who cares, right? We can just ignore them.
That is so true. This is the life.
Something I also forgot to mention earlier, that re-entering certain rooms in a round, you'll find that certain rooms have alternate angles with a large different set of items, which does make the game feel more fresh than before. I'm very photogenic and look good on camera. Yeah, I believe it. He then talks about his creaky chair.
Tell me more.
Oh, what's this? Money on the clock? I guess time really is money. Alright, I went to sleep for the night, came back the next. Good day to you too, Austin, and oh my god! Alright, back to talking about Renovation Academy, despite you not asking. Well, you were away throwing a bunch of buns at this girl's face and giving this other girl an already eaten apple. Again, why? Austin got to have his episode filmed and how it'll be airing on television. If it's anything like... then I'd say it's definitely worth watching. I mean, I already missed out on that shine. I can't lose twice in a row. Oh yeah, Austin also broke his rocking chair and I was too distracted to even notice over the corny dialogue like how, what a calamity it is. You know who's coming to the city? Well, I don't, and there's nothing about it in the newspaper.
I should lock that window, shouldn't I?
Hey, you can't just say that and go straight to talking about fish feeding. I need to know more. What if he's in my yard? Cup delivery. Also, it would appear that Austin was onto something when mentioning fish after all, because this girl in exchange for all these cups has given you a Japanese koi. Something actually worthwhile. This awesome fish really is better than money. They say fish don't eat sweets. That's just a callback from the first game.
You can stick your finger into the fish tank and the fish in there will probably nibble on it because they think it's a worm and they don't know any better. But can they eat it? Well, maybe with enough perseverance, maybe. But that doesn't mean it should.
And it turns out we could have seen swan carcasses in the previous game. You're lucky I'm merciful enough to not dock your pay. All decent homes have beautiful clocks. It's about time ours did too. Well, maybe I will dock your pay for the greater good. You know, so that I can do less of this. But maybe later because I just made enough money to afford one. You are having to balance several glass plates on either hand on a not-so-tight rope over a body of water with the thinnest of ices you've ever seen. You understand? Anyway, the episode Austin stars in begins to air on TV, but uh-oh, the storm that's been going on for the duration of the clock installation has knocked out the power, and somehow the entire satellite dish. So pick up the wires and set the dish back up, reconnecting all the wires. That's it. Okay, so this is the part of the video where I bring back up Farmscapes. You had to create a little tool to get an item out of a fountain and, among other things, actually use your functioning brain the way it was intended. I just find the way it was done in Mansion Makeover to be so lacking that I sometimes wonder why they even bothered doing this in the first place. This had great potential and they blew it! The least they could have done was give you, I don't know, a puzzle type segment after finding what you needed. Just give me more, man. I also love how repairing the TV just magically stopped the rain because... yeah, I believe in magic. And because it just needed to happen, Austin walks back into the TV to see the program already coming to an end.
And I found this one off of TVTropes.com.
But no need to worry because he's being sent his own copy in the mail afterwards. And then has mushy pasta for lunch. I finally finished my new kite. It's a real whopper. Look at the postmark on the envelope. Tomorrow was yesterday. A set of armor because every mansion needs one, I think. Listen, Austin, I know you're probably not the biggest fan of change, but share a new one. I wanted to pick the white one because I liked it the most, but decided to ultimately get it as red as it matched the rest of the room just fine. But then he ended up getting used to it in the end, and he loves it.
Hold on. Yep. I'm used to it.
Oh, no way. Is that what I actually think it is? A speedy search section? Try saying that 5 times fast. Where I'm actually earning money?
Nature has been healed!
This, of course, gives us a huge push towards making the sculpture purchase our next upgrade, and that seemed like it'll take so long. The rest will. Alright, come on, apples. Where must you be?
You have something that I demand.
Hello, GoronGuy123. I still hate the character limit. Grip run to be held on the last Thursday of the month. Run with me supports a healthy lifestyle.
Do I care? Happy Thanksgiving.
Will you run?
Actually, my knee kinda hurts. I don't think I really want to right. That's $5!
Oh, great. It happened again. The option that I want is outside of my budget. Well, I think I'll just... it's mine now. Look how cool he is. I'm gonna name him Simon. Wait, never mind, that's a stupid name. Austin, I'm sorry, but I don't want to wait for you to sluggishly get up those stairs to say something generic about the new addition to the mansion. I still have money to make. Surely you understand at this point, right? Fellas, Blue Yeti microphone. And to a lesser extent, the Shure PG-27. Surely something you could get away with putting in your game. Lamps!
For $10,000. Wow.
Austin, do you mind not tampering with the fireplace again? You're messing with the inner workings of the game itself. Also, when that happens, some progress gets undone, such as how I need to repurchase the lamps and replay the fireplace stage again. You know, a part of why I think the set of armor is one of the more useless additions to the mansion is how... Well, what's this made out of, tinfoil? Just right in the sitting room, ladies and gents. It's been staring at me for the 3 hours I've played the game up to this point. Then Tina over here sends you a letter about showing interest in getting your dog all freshened up. Don't be silly, you're adorable and know it. But he's not all about that. Why didn't he call him by his actual name? You got it right your last sentence. Yeah, I think about clocks too sometimes. Also, why does this kind of look like Frank Sinatra? In fact, it probably is. And that's 20 vases in exchange for a friend for our eagle sculpture. And another phone call arises the topic of the rocking chair fix, which, come on, unless it's an antique or there's some kind of special case on it, why would it cost so much to a point that you're told that the money we've made is going towards the mansion's repairs, thus payment wrenches? Oh, don't worry, sir, we're putting a bunch of money right now into knight armor, which we don't need. And here we're introduced to a new room which we've had yet to have access to, the workshop. And it is indeed a workshop. And 3 seconds after I finish saying that exact sentence, do I finish this round in just about 10 seconds. There's officially no topping this. I cannot go up from here. Oh yeah, Austin also put the rocking chair outside of the balcony, which I think makes total sense. Then our fire goes out and need to go and grab some wood for it. Grab that axe, chop that stump. I can be trusted to do the same for $300 an hour.
I would just speed through the rest of this, especially considering that at a certain point Austin will just stop having interesting things to say. But this is a GoronGuy123 video, so prepare for more corniness. Brace yourself.
No grumbling.
I still haven't eaten this sandwich yet.
Welcome to the kitchen where we serve things like nail. Wait.
Oh, that's kind of funny. I don't remember putting that there. Also, I'm not hungry anymore.
So the guests will be arriving soon, and this leads to Austin thinking about drinks and hors d'oeuvres.
Remain calm, everyone. It's just a French word for appetizers.
The ideas he throws about include cherry compote, Russian salad, black and green olives. I mean, okay, fair enough. Turtle soup?
Why would you hurt him? I had him since I was 12.
Oh, scratch the turtle soup?
Phew.
Filet of chicken coated with crushed almonds, which sounds pretty good, honestly, like... These actually sound pretty good. Canapes and pickles. Well then, it does actually seem like you care about the well-being of your guests. Then some kid comes along and wants a bunch of kettles from you, and I seriously can't stop reading his dialogue in the voice from the British kid from Passport to Peril. Seriously, you should go watch that video, it's pretty good. Then it would appear that the clock in the library is a bit broken, leading to him calling a clock expert. Look, I am aware that this is most certainly an actual job title, but I just find the term clock expert, and it's not because I'm 12 and remove the L, although that's also kind of funny. I just for some reason find the term clock expert to be rather humorous. I was gonna commit to the bit of the wall and fireplace blue, whereas the rest of the mansion's major components are red, but I just can't stand to look at it much longer. So now the colors actually match. Almost. Glassware? Oh, there it is. Glass there. The cherry tree hasn't blossomed yet. Hey, wait a second. Once again, it's all muddy and damp with puddles everywhere. I love it. Every day this week it has started to rain at noon, right on the dot. Terrible. Now this is the character development that I would kill to see. Just in case she happens to be missing anything for the pool tournament this Sunday, I suppose. And one last time to grab a hat. Then an owner of a fireworks shop wants to buy 20 fire extinguishers from you, and in exchange I get incredible fireworks.
You know, I don't think I've ever been more intrigued in my entire life. Let's see these fireworks, preferably in broad daylight so we can see them a little bit easier.
It took only 18 seconds to find all those fire extinguishers, so this wasn't much of a loss. Excuse me, why are you alive? I don't think he's supposed to do that.
I actually forgot to mention until now that there are some plushies in the game that actually come to life and move around kind of creepily if you hover your cursor over them. And that actually reminds me of a real creative writing lesson that I partake in, and I believe that I still have the original paper in here. Okay, it wasn't really like a one-wish type deal, but basically it was along the lines of a dream day, and I'm actually gonna read it. My dream day would be my stuffed animals coming to life. Imagine if every decade that a sunbeam would strike houses, making toys come to life. They would love me and everyone else too. I would play nice with them, but that would never happen. I would be very surprised if it did. Smiley face. And as you can see, I was being thesaurus.com antonym for creative that day.
Austin later talks about how he used to professionally play piano and drums, how he was musically gifted and such, and how he would play at a restaurant for extra cash. I wonder what caused him to bring it up. He seems pretty confident though, so much so he says it again another time, which I respect, so I'll be putting you to the test soon enough. Wow, if that's not the greenest face I've ever seen, and I'll prove it by chroma keying it out and replacing it with a picture of Tim Allen. It looks like it was discovered in an underwater moss-covered shipwreck on a strange alien planet. And then we have to find a bunch of brushes that actually took a few minutes making it, probably the most difficult of these rounds. But I'm unsure if that's really saying much. As a reward, we get exceptional paintings. I mean, are they? They sure are exceptional in the sense that I can't really see what's on them at all. Is Vegas Pro's pan and zoom just doing them an injustice, or is it just me? The sky is a beautiful color, just like my eyes. You. It's piano time. Show me what you got, Austin. Look at him go. Austin, no, stop. That's the newspaper that crashes the game when you read it. No! I had to buy the piano again. What a handsome new banister. We replaced that ages ago. Are you hurt? You were doing an amazingly good job at selling. Do you have experience in retail? I meant to have something clever to say here, aren't I? This is what I've always wanted. A new ventilation grill. Look at that fountain. It's working. Well, yeah, they're supposed to do that. Although I wouldn't be that surprised if unemployed fountains existed. Does anyone want plants that cost upwards of $22,000? That makes Venezuela look like it has a well-functioning economy. The guests still somehow have yet to arrive, but because of the way the game is programmed, I suppose this is some kind of theme. You still have enough time to buy the plants. What is it with these games ending in plants? It's not like I want a golden bathtub to be the final upgrade that close things up for good, but especially in the context of Mansion Makeover, isn't this something you do way earlier in the game and Knights in freaking Armor be one of the very last ones? Oh, but trust me guys, the plants are actually made of 28 karat diamonds! Wait, this joke doesn't actually work, does it?
It's looking beautiful already, but it's going to look stunning!
Alright, so I ended up giving this gentleman a bunch of seashells on a seashore, but the value of these shells will fall to the laws of supply. This joke isn't that funny. But we're given a top-notch lighting system for our fountain. Yeah! No, we have to set the alarm for 3 in the morning. We simply have to see what it looks like at night.
It doesn't have to be 3 in the morning.
Oh, and this dialogue? I'm getting fed up of waiting to see some fresh plants.
In a minute!
And then this kid returns from his ventilation grill endeavor to order a rolled up piece of paper for 86 bucks so that he can scold his dog for peeing on the carpet for the 15th time. And at long last, we've acquired the final upgrade the game offers us for the low, low price of $23,000. The ferns look cool, at least. Now we close our eyes as we behold the surprise he has in store.
I didn't close my eyes.
Hitting continue takes you to the end credits and thus completing Gardenscapes Mansion Makeover.
You know, it's nice to at least see a Gardenscapes game that cares that you sunk 5 hours into it, and I will say that it is a pleasant continuation in the trilogy. One that I'd say is, in terms of quality, is on par with the first game. The only thing that bugs me about the progression in this game is that it's only one room that's actually having this level of care put into it. Every other room in the entire game is, as far as I'm aware, just a complete dump. But why should we bother cleaning it, right? It's a great money maker. I can't wait for the next spin-off, Gardenscapes Bathroom Blowout, where we finally do something about the anchor in the bathtub. But either way, those are my closing thoughts on the game. I think it's finally about time that we begin talking about Gardenscapes 2.
And what better way to kick things off than with a fully CG opening cutscene? You can say, oh, it still looks kinda weird all you want. Do you like looking at this? What a huge upgrade from the previous titles. I think I actually look forward to it. Here's Austin's dad going way over the speed limit on the city streets. Oh wait, that kinda already gave away the premise a little, even though you're pretty much shown it seconds later. This is about Austin traveling to his parents' house and with your help restoring their garden. And let me just say that it could use some touching up, but at least we're not starting out like this. This garden has concrete!
Get my concrete paradise!
I don't know, dude. It actually looks nice, but again, I'm comparing this to the first game in the spin-off. Some people with higher standards of living might think I've lost it for good. Hooray! Boy, I sure am glad they made sure not to forget the worst aspect of these games, the 10 character limit.
Can I just be GoronGuy123?
I don't want to be GoronGuy123.
Anyway, Austin of course questions the current state of the garden, and as a surprise to nobody except maybe 2-foot-tall men living near the center of the earth, his parents' old age has been holding them back from keeping the garden maintained. You then have a short little chat, and off you go to start selling some things. I think the gist is pretty clear, and if you've made it up to this point and still don't get it, then how are you still here? Okay, so we have a bit of an art style change. Is this an upgrade? I don't know, man. These new designs don't really do it for me. It could just be me being nostalgia blind, or maybe I just find the way they've been caricaturized to be pretty unappealing. This glasses kid doesn't even look like he's from the same game. They also made it so you can't skip the level complete text. Should I like where this game is going? And everything starts with benches. You start speculating right in front of you whether the paint on them is actually dry. I don't know, man. I think you should play it safer than that. Don't become Arthur from Arthur's Reading Race. Now, I thought this was just some random old guy telling me what to do, but it's actually your dad. I love short-term memory. I literally saw this character already. Every other round or so will have a set of tasks that must be completed in order for your customers to proceed and sell items to them, like screwing in a light bulb, replacing the window, and getting rid of those cobwebs. Sorry, everyone, but these are no longer for sale. Oh, hello, sir. I definitely have a reason to trust you with how you're ordering a flashlight to do some casual infiltrating. Wait, where's your neck? Oh, alright, bye! You're crazy if you think I'm not gonna pick whatever flower option is some form of purple. It's just how I roll. Oh, it's pretty. Very nice. You're looking at a door frame. What's so special about that? The flowers are rustling.
That's because I'm the one that lives in the flowers, and these butterflies are my friends.
Okay, I'm gonna just go back to my living room because you clearly don't acknowledge my presence much.
They had me quite rattled, and trust me, that's not so easy to do.
They're butterflies.
Phew. I've got a secret. You won't tell anyone, right?
Oh, don't worry. I'm a very trustworthy kind of guy. Now tell me what your secret is.
I brought her dog with me.
There's no point in worldwide coverage.
So before the secret is shared to Austin's parents, he needs a kennel built first. But not before helping out his mom with a photo album that has pages missing. Did I necessarily have to do that for you? I think this beat-up car would make for an awesome family I'm just kidding, guys. This photography is sponsored by the man in the sky, because what would you do without him? And there's also an achievement system. Wait, were we talking about something? During my playthrough of the last Gardenscapes, I haven't really been able to stumble upon a music track that has really stood out to me. And they're not bad at all, just not something to write home about. Until... this track in particular, for some reason, hits. Alright, so Austin's mother needs you to slightly tidy up this kitchen. So here's how these messes I must clean up ended up happening. William was doing some baking, but suddenly a cockroach makes its way into the scene. Freaked out, William starts tossing both his shoes at it in some pathetic attempt to eliminate it, leading to him knocking over some flour, but only enough for him to make these 2 footprints and in only this location. So when he runs out of shoe ammunition, he tries to kill it with his bare hands, and look, I'm done talking about this. I don't want to keep thinking about an old guy's feet. He also probably knocked over this cabinet door. Sometimes family members will also appear alongside the customers at the start as they ask you to look for a family photo to complete the rest of the album, which can also be checked at any time by clicking the book in the bottom left. I don't know if finding these photos are required, but I am a good citizen in this town and wish to do my bidding to the best of my ability. And as Dad is starting to become suspicious of Austin, how he's locking himself in his room more often, and dare I say, barking.
I mean, if he's gonna attend FurCon, I'm not surprised at all that he wants to be in character.
Also, witness how eagerly he runs outside to see the new kennel be built, only for me to realize that the one I want isn't quite affordable yet. But then a new tool is added to the game, the magnifying glass. Not only can he do this, but any item you need that's hovered over makes said item begin to wobble around and you'll start to earn bonuses the more you find. Alright, now I can afford a new kennel and we're once again prompted to name our dog. Again. This time, however, I'll give it a proper name, not try to run a joke into the ground like I have tendencies to time and time again, except that I just told a lie.
But you see, on the show, we do have to differentiate, find new ways to open the prologue, as some might say. Stop repeating the same jokes until nauseam. I mean, I would never do such a thing like that.
Wait, you're saying you want another flashlight? How about this? Bam! Flashlight counter. How do you like that? After a silly little greeting, he pulls up his childhood treasure map, one filled with deception, an X that doesn't mark the spot, and the emboldened, more defined X that actually marks the spot near the center of the sun. If only it were that cool. This is the next introduction to the thermometer. Did it look like I needed it? Stores gasoline. Okay, yeah, I'm putting him on an official watch list. This is going too far. But no worries, because the maid is off to the rescue. Oh, don't you try to be normal now. Then you buy some hedges and the dog gets scolded for attempting to flex the terraforming knowledge it doesn't actually possess. Must mean he's pretty terrible at it. Anyway, this would be me like lying about my knowledge in the Department of Music Making.
I was born to do this.
The minute we put in the bushes, the whole thing looks different. Do you think if I put in a new fence, we'll get a similar effect?
Wow, am I in a garden?
That's an achievement? Good for him, let him speak his heart out. He'll never be able to compete with how many I've spoken. I don't reckon this was ever the case during my playthrough, but there could have been a customer, no matter how ugly or beautiful, that would have bought this egg with a straight face and for the same price as a high-quality tomahawk ribeye. Austin then ends up finding the buried treasure that he was talking about earlier, getting the dog to aid him, uncovering some stamps and feathers, things he holds close to himself. Okay, so I'll talk again about how some customers will tell you a basic description of the item they want, whether it'll be as stupidly simple as something horses wear or useful in the rain.
A mobile phone. It's nowhere near waterproof, but, you know, I get lonely sometimes. Plus, umbrellas were a stupid invention.
Then there's some actually clever ones like graphite encased in wood, which is actually a pencil. But maybe that one was only clever to me because I didn't know what graphite was. I feel like my heart is singing. Well, it probably shouldn't be doing that. And what if it sounded like a Brendan Urie? He goes on to talk about how he used to own a gramophone and that he'd love a new one. Just never mind the one his mom told him to fix in Grandpa's gramophone stash that probably exists. Just go get a new one. And whatever. I think having a brand new one is cool, but stupid taking into account practicality. Despite the many impracticalities this game as a whole contains, whatever, I'll work for it. You then are sent a letter from two people that just prove my earlier point about how some characters don't look like they belong in the same game. Tell you about their band called Strings and how they all got back together after a decade-long break. Wait. What are the odds? Who knows, maybe this was intended to be a direct reference and not the dumbest coincidence I've ever seen. Anyway, we must get them some musical instruments. Can't wait for their newest worldwide hit single, coffee grinder type beat. But, I'm not too sure about how some of these can be utilized together, although bagpipes are still incompatible with all of them. Whatever, just give them a xylophone and a wind chime. I'm sure they can make good use of them. They are the strings after all, right guys? So much experience with string instruments, so much experience with tying shoes! Oh yeah, I might have not mentioned this yet, but these kind of speedruns actually get you rewarded with money once again instead of some fancy light sphere fountain, just like the first game. Also, there are times where the camera hints themselves can be, well, just see for yourself. I have things to say about this, but I must keep my tongue bit. Hey, are you trying to flood my home? Quick! Find your own hole in the ground to flood. Sheesh. Peace feels like a luxury nowadays. Pop those bubbles. They don't need to be there. That running faucet nobody can turn off, that's not important right now. Bubbles. Austin then talks about how he finished organizing a special sale involving the mass selling of fruit. I don't know, would you trust it? Well, where else would they find such delicious fruit? You see, when it comes to financial decision making, I'm typically not one to judge. What is wrong with all of you? Now that we have ourselves a new gramophone, it's only natural that we make efforts to find our vinyl collection. Okay, so we have what kind of looks like it could be a Beatles record, and then we have... Now that is hands down the most awesome thing I've ever seen in this game. Now we're in the bedroom, the farthest away room in the mansion, and even though it makes sense that the customers are going to these locations in person and not standing outside, but all I can think about is, yeah, right this way, customers, just be sure to ignore the lethal neurotoxins in the air on your way over. People are definitely tripping on things like corkscrews and beach balls on their way over, and you can't convince me otherwise. A new paper arrives, and this time it's about an upcoming pool championship, sporting a dude with a very receding hairline. Also, is it just me, or does this game feel a bit shorter than the other games? It still took me a little over 4 hours to beat, but the game doesn't feel nearly as slow as the other games. And I think I can attribute that to the fact that speedruns pay out. So yeah, I only have 10 upgrades left, and they certainly took a while to get, but for some reason, it did come off as sluggish to me. Now Austin's parents are encouraging him to enter in the pool championships. Oh, this game and its contests. Can't wait for the next Gardenscapes spin-off, Gardenscapes competition extravaganza. Can I ask why there's an axe in the children's room? Is there some kind of significance or reference I should be getting here? It unnerves me. Austin's dad then tells him that he should shear the bushes. Wait, then has he just been pretending to shear bushes 2 minutes ago? I don't know, I suppose the running theory could just be that his current pair sucks, but it sure is a good thing your grandpa had a hoarding problem, because we sure can take advantage of it at this point. Also, make up your mind, Austin, are these shears or pruners? What a nice handprint, I think I'll be buying it, said literally no soul except yours. A new arch. Looking back, the forged one looks better. Oh, how cute, someone's incomplete social security number. Later, we then hear Austin announce that he is indeed going to compete in the pool competition for the grand prize.
If he goes up against a world champion and he wins, then I will throw a fit just like this.
How do I look?
Dad, don't be proud of your son yet. He hasn't done anything. In fact, we don't even have a pool table to practice on. You've been gone a long time, all night.
I mean, what can I say? A man's gotta get his sleep. Do you want to talk about that fountain again?
Yes, and a set of balls would be nice. Huh. I think I will file this under prank call. You know what you did. Alright, man, get to pool practicing. We don't have all the time in the world. Alright, let's see. Only 6 out of the 15 required balls are visible. 2 of them are the same color, with another one being a slightly altered shade of the ball used to hit the rest into the holes. If there's proof that pool randomizer is a thing, then this is it. But either way, we took care of that pool table conundrum within 13 minutes, and now our boy Austin is practicing as intensely as ever. Boy, I sure love having to grab 15 apples all in one go, as the imprecise hit detection, an issue that's bothered me throughout my playthrough, really gets to shine through. I could be wrong, but I swear I can click on an object and the game won't pick it up unless I click on it a slightly different way. It gets pretty annoying after a while. You know what else is annoying? Why doesn't it rain in this game? And there was no reason they had to do this. It just takes some of the liveliness out. Okay, easy on the negativity, me. We now move on to the laundry room, and I gotta say, even though this might be the easiest room in the whole game, to find items in it genuinely goes to show that the game in its design is genius. But yeah, they just keep finding ways to hide all the stuff you're looking for in just the right places to not make it too convenient for the player, and I kinda love it. Wow, look at that awesome pool table. This would make for such an awesome photo. Oh wait, the game doesn't want me to have fun. What a shame. Oh hey, look, a little Toy Story reference. That's nice. Now Austin is sad because he just remembered his old guitar that he lost deep in the depths of the mansion, but his father knows exactly where it is. It just goes to show that if you think of an item, it'll be there.
But what about a complete box copy of Earthbound for the Super Nintendo? Yeah, that's what I thought.
But all it needs are some new strings, and what better place to look than a balcony. Trust me, guitar strings in particular are just so abundant on balconies. Oh god, where's that instruments are never animated correctly guy when you need him? Alright, time for us to host our next sale at the backyard. Seriously, this hoarding problem has not only seemingly ran in the family, but not even the great outdoors are safe. These old farts don't even look old enough to be unable to take care of a lot of the mess, so I just have to assume that they're lazy. And then you get a... You can do that? Whatever, this is just another one of those things that don't make sense to me, and I attempt to make sense of it, but the only sense I should focus on are the sense that bring me closer to finishing this game. That was probably a bit harsh, and I do apologize. Let's see, sculpture or even more expensive plant. As soon as I bought these, you have Austin literally talk about the instant delivery service we use, which caused me to audibly laugh, because it took almost 2 hours into my playthrough of the 3rd out of the 3 games for this series to become self-aware. I suppose in a way that would actually make the most sense for why everything gets so expensive in this game.
And I'm not even going to argue, because some people are just going to say, oh, well, why don't you just do it yourself? You'd probably save more money that way. WarioWare DIY. That's not true, though, because our money output is large enough and it comes out at enough of a rate where I genuinely believe that we would just be wasting time and putting all this pressure on Austin if we were to resort to that. Work smarter, not harder. That's the takeaway today.
I only just managed to dodge it. Dude, like, real talk? That's genius. Nothing will solve your problems more than an outdated bottle of mystery meds. Also, Austin gets a call from a lady telling him about her cat that's stuck up in a tree and asks for his help. But then after a sale, it's now all about that pool tournament from earlier. I'll just assume that I should have waited for Austin to come back to the garden, then maybe I would have gotten an explanation. But I don't got time for that. Thankfully, Austin doesn't win the pool tournament, thank God, but apparently got pretty close. And that is how he deals with spam calls. Sir, I don't mean to alarm you, but this guy with a possibly lengthy criminal record might be plotting to tranquilize your frog. For fun. Just be on the lookout, okay? It's now time to get ready for a special sale at the studio. Now, this is where the money people are willing to spend for these rarities actually makes sense. And if some of these truly are some highly prestiged artifacts, then I'd even argue that these people could be getting one heck of a bargain right now. But let's face it, these are definitely just reproductions. Put the pencils in the pencil holder to make it disappear, because who needs all those pencils? We can just store vital information in our heads. Up next we have what is by far the most important cutscene in the entire game, pigeons. So it turns out that this lady is actually the crazy pigeon lady from Home Alone 2. She repainted the roof of her house recently, causing every last pigeon of hers to flock over to Austin's parents' roof instead. So yeah, just grab them all, lovely pigeons. It kind of sounds like you then immediately changed your mind. I am just so used to that. And then you get a letter from John, who shares with you a picture of Austin's last appearance with his band. And whoa, dude, that's so radical. Hello? What brings him here? Please do not grab that stained glass and hit it over my head, please. That would hurt a considerable amount. Yeah, as far as absurd things that have happened in this game, that one isn't gonna be beat anytime soon. The funniest thing about this is how this is quite literally the only time he shows up, and then never again. Remarkable. Then you find Austin's dad talking about a statue of their great-great-grandfather, except I skipped that by accident, and how he helped them out find all the pieces to it, rebuilding it shortly after. I feel quite rejuvenated. The shampoo you recommended simply works wonders.
It was actually mustard.
Working in the garden is a bit like playing my favorite fishy computer game. Wow, what a subtle reference. Wait. If the fishdom games themselves exist within the Gardenscapes universe, could that also mean that the rest of the Playrix library exists there too? Like, Austin could grab a copy of Farmscapes and restore his friend's farm, but only inside a game inside of a game? Also, could that mean the same thing that could apply to Gardenscapes itself? Mickey Mouse. Also, wow, who's testing their lipstick on pieces of furniture? Looks like I have a competitor. Okay, look, I get it. This is such a dumb thing to nitpick, but why is the lamppost in the backyard this when I bought this? The times when there's just a lack of detail in certain aspects, it really makes me feel a certain way. Now Austin has shown interest in wanting to restore this car that's been sitting around being all busted up and not used for anything for the duration I've played this game, plus longer than that, and eventually convinces his dad to help him out with the project. Pretty easily, must I say. Also, did you know that this man can sometimes cause you to lose $200? Another letter arrives, and this time it's from Bertha, and I'm really sorry to those actually named Bertha. She has heard that you own the oldest sets of children's building blocks and wanted to purchase them from you. I don't get it. Why call them building blocks when by definition those aren't blocks?
Because these are building blocks, and I've had these since my childhood. I can't tell you why I still have them.
Also, they're called pyramid pieces now.
Stop confusing me, game!
Looks like I'll never know what he said here, because the fact that I got this achievement is just so much more important. Later on, the newspaper makes its arrival again and talks about how the wooden building blocks have been added to the Children's Toy Museum, and that it became a sensation when visitors were given the okay to play with said toys.
But if you break any of said toys, then we'll have you shot and we'll charge your family tree thousands each, just to protect their kid family image.
False teeth? I mean, sure, that's one way to put it. Another call gets made, and it's about a guy wanting to break a Guinness World Record for the tallest tower of pillows on top of a mountain, and in typical Gardenscapes fashion, requires you selling a bunch of that same item to him. Oh, and here's something I really don't get. This lady wants a quill and ink, but actually she doesn't want this quill and ink, she wants this one. It turns out that the other one is reserved for a customer that wants this one specifically. People ask for literal diamonds, but then also want solitaire cards with diamond symbols on it, ask for multiple saws, and are willing to take circular ones too, and cups, including ones resembling trophies, but this quill and ink, nope, they don't want that specific item. I can't even begin to tell you how much that makes my skin crawl. We get a call back from the mountain dude, and he's told us that he's broken the world record, and he congratulates you for helping him achieve that. Look, man, I don't really care that much. I'm almost finished with this game. I just want to see it conclude right before the explosion. Due to numerous customer requests, we're holding a sale in the basement.
Wow.
Also, it's literally called the cellar. Use your head! For the past several days, it would appear that the fruits of Austin and his dad's labor has officially paid off as the car finally is able to start, with the requirement of needing some extra tweaks and finishes for it to officially be ready to hit the road. I don't know what he means by turning over, but I'm gonna ignore that. Oh yeah, about the whole I don't want this specific item but this instead bullcrap, it happened again 15 minutes later. The customer wants a baseball bat, but the wooden one. Specifying baseball bat isn't enough because even though one is made of metal, they do the exact same thing, but they don't tell you that, since this game just wants to screw with me. What did I ever do? Anyway, all I know next is that mom and dad are planning some sort of surprise.
I should still keep my guard up. They could kick me out of the property, admit that they were just using me for their own personal gain, which would be stupid, but I gotta prepare for it.
At long last, the final sale. The last sale to get me enough to afford the final upgrade, which mind you, is almost 30 grand. But it's only fitting that instead of it being generic houseplants or fruit trees, that it's ended off by finally doing something about that darn fountain, thus completing a Gardenscapes 2. So then everyone congratulates you for restoring the garden. Wait, let me see how many times I've used that word in total. Huh, not as much as the word then, apparently. And the mom and the pops talk about how hard they've been thinking when it comes to how they wish to thank you for your work. So they give you this car.
Woo! I don't have a driver's license. Woo!
And you better accept this gift or they'll be pissed. Austin then invites you over for a sweet little drive, put to the ending cutscene along with an orchestrated piece to go along with it. The game doesn't straight up end right here, however, as you're then meant to take one last generic photo and then something quite peculiar happens on the bottom left. Yep, new outfits. No dog collar is worth $55,000. Obviously, these are all optional, but the insane thing is that I'm pretty sure the amount of money you need to purchase all of these would require needing to double the amount of money you've made in total, if not more. And if you're a masochist, then you could try to go for unlocking all of the achievements, but is there anything worthwhile in it for you? Maybe. Maybe not. The mom looks good in this minty green, but certainly not for 50k, and if you really want to, you can give the dog some pretty silly outfits.
I thought for a second that, after getting all the upgrades, it would just pull sneaky on me and just basically say, alright, you're actually halfway done through the game, but does anyone really want a crowded, really crowded garden? And while this ended up being a bit of a shorter entry in the trilogy, I honestly think it needed to be shortened. And that was a deep dive into the original Gardenscapes trilogy. It wasn't hard to approach at all, and even though it was pretty easy for me, the appeal is certainly still there. And while nothing can really beat the original in terms of sound progression, and even in some cases graphics, despite the fact that the games are still kind of dated looking, but the charm is certainly still there, and I'm very glad that I checked it out. I'm sure it'll be great on the DS. I'll touch upon it.
If it's not clear already, this is a very watered down version of the one on PC. This was a bit of a trend on the system since, wow, oh boy, this system ended up being the second most sold video game unit ever made. I'm so glad I threw my game onto it when I had the chance. Yes, the pixels are very easy to count up. The opening cutscene is just a bunch of still images.
My favorite version of Gardenscapes is Gardenscapes PowerPoint Edition.
But in all honesty, it's pretty comical how crusty the game looks on here. And I could sit in here and nitpick all the things that bug me about this port, such as how they shortened every music track and relaxed mode just removes the timer despite the fact that customers still get mad at you and pay you less for not finding an item for them in time, but do I really have to? It's Gardenscapes on the DS, just one look is all it takes.
What about the 3DS version? Yes, that exists.
I mean, this is only somewhat of an improvement, and stop with the strict character limits! But thank goodness we got a fully voiced and fully animated opening cutscene, even in its scuffed form. It's nice to see. And then we have here a fully 3D modeled preview of your garden, where you can scroll over it using the circle pad, D-pad, and A, B, Y, and X buttons. Why do games do this? It feels weird. And that's the company that Project was handed to, flexing its budget. The last of it. Okay, look, it's nice looking at a fishbowl and actually recognizing it as a fishbowl, but come on, do you need this? I certainly didn't. And I totally get it, you're out and about, you're not lugging around your gaming PC 2 hours from home like an idiot, so if you really need your Gardenscapes fix on the go, this is an okay way to do it. But it's become pretty clear that rather than vastly improve upon the DS version, this almost feels like a port of that version with slightly enhanced graphics. We all know the system is capable of so much more than that. What excuse do they have? Probably this. Also, why is the Oriental room music playing in these two rooms? whatever, there's not much left to say.
So while the handheld ports aren't really much to write home about, I guess it really goes to show how much the PC versions really stood the test of time. Of course they looked aged looking back on them, but would you rather step on 3 nails in a row? Seriously though, the awful mobile games are actually the main driving force behind me even making this video. It makes me appreciate the original trilogy even more. Okay, but what was that Project Rub game that I downloaded earlier for that bit? Can't stop!
Huh. Well, that's not supposed to happen. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching today's video. Yeah, I know, it also took a while. You might have to get used to it as time goes on. But either way, I appreciate it. Thank you all so much for, holding out and waiting for another one of these to release. I do appreciate it. If you guys want to see more content from me, I have a couple of side channels, most notably more GoronGuy123 and a GoronGuy123 Live where, maybe one day I'll live stream. I also have some social medias, most notably Twitter, which I'm not calling x.com, Instagram, that's pretty much it. Either way, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you all in the next one. See you around, my fellow rockmen!